hello, welcome on in. It's my stream anniversary. I forget how long this is. It's either 5 or 6 years, one of the two. I wanted to do an AMA. I think it's been long enough for curiosities to be piqued. So I put out a call for anybody who wanted to ask questions prior to the stream, and they did. I got a whole handful here. Feel free to ask in chat if you have anything you want to know about. The reason why I have chat disabled is because I'm going to treat every question as anonymous. Because I'm going to be uploading this on YouTube, and I'm not going to say who these questions are from. Just to protect for some anonymity. Because you know what people are like. He didn't read my question! Well, nobody's getting there. Nobody's going to get a response if that's the case. So, I might as well dive in. Like I said though, feel free to smash a question in the chat if you want. I will answer it when it comes in, because I think I've got a whole heap and I've got 20 questions here. So we're going to go through these bit by bit, and when I see one in chat like just now, I will copy and paste it before I forget, and then I'll get to it in my time. Okay. First question. Why do you stream? Like, if you were to boil it down to one or a couple of reasons at its core, what makes you keep coming back to hop on and keep streaming? It's a remarkable privilege to be able to broadcast yourself to strangers from all across the world and to act as though you're hanging out with them as if you're in the same living room. I have not always been able to do this. There was a time where my internet, no matter who it was I teamed up with, was abysmal. A couple of the moderators will know that I tried streaming once upon a time, way before this, and my bitrate was less than 144p. But I did it anyway because I enjoyed the interaction. And luckily the people I spoke to used me as a radio station rather than footage. So that was nice of them. But on that fateful day, when lightning struck my house, and that's real. When lightning struck my house, it knocked out the infrastructure completely. We didn't have power for a couple of days. And we actually had to get the broadband replaced because the wires got fucking fried. So everything got updated, everything got renewed, and now I actually have internet that can keep up with the demand. So I keep coming back because I still remember how it used to be. And streaming right now is a remarkable privilege that I am going to milk for all of its worth until either it or I kick the bucket. Next question. Is there anything you'd want to change about the way you stream? Anything from maybe just to keep on adding up the setup I already have, or maybe a future overhaul, or maybe change the mindset and approach? Let's see. So the setting I have right now, the leaves, the bananas, my little mascot ape, I like this right now. I know for a long time I'd been shuffling with different designs, from hollowed out CR TV television to jungly bamboo setup to more of a milkshake yellow kind of thing, and then back again to the jungly setup that's a lot softer and easier to look at, easier on the eyes. And I feel as though this is more or less where I'm at. Because I've had this set up for a year and a half now, and I've not gotten bored of it yet. So I think this might be the one. I think this is the the overlay, the theme that I'm going to keep with. As for things I'd change, I think I want, it's a small thing, but I want a bigger Stream Deck, sorry. I ordered a Stream Deck with 15 buttons, and that was enough for a time. But now it's getting a bit... I didn't mean to press that. It's getting a bit crowded. The Stream Deck's getting a bit crowded. So I would someday like to invest in the bigger one. I forget how many buttons that is. I think it's 30? 40? Something like that. But yeah, I would appreciate having a bigger Stream Deck. It does its purpose right now by, you know, muting myself, changing from scene to scene, and stopping audio on the fly. But my collection of memes, my references, it's getting cramped. And so I'd like to get a new one eventually. Other than having my own place to live, that would be a great thing. I remember when I streamed in my old apartment, that was really freeing, that was really liberating, and even though the internet wasn't that great, and my neighbors were pretty, boomer, it was very liberating to do what it is I wanted to do in my own space, in my own time. So I've been streaming at my folks' home for I forget how long, and it's not as fulfilling as it used to be. So I'm holding out hope that someday I will be able to live independently again and have a space of my own where I can feel truly relaxed and not have to glance over my shoulder every 5 minutes just in case somebody barges in and demands something of me. Not something you should really complain about, especially if you've been given a free roof over your head, but that's exactly my point. There are obligations and responsibilities that come with given free boarding. And at the drop of a hat, this could all end because of that. Which is something I don't want. Any mindsets or approach? I'm quite comfortable with my mindset right now. I've never really been... Oh, sorry. Thank you for the congratulations, Darko News. Hope you're doing well. As for mindset, I'm quite comfortable with who I am right now. I feel as though I am the best version of myself I've ever been. And I feel as though... Thank you for the gift, sub Ramon. And I feel as though I'm only getting better. So whatever that person is going to be in the future, I hope will keep this going. I've never really been much of an entertainer. I'm more of a, I will make you a sandwich, and if you want to eat it, you'll eat it. I don't care if you don't, kind of person. Which is how I do my streams. I will do a stream. If you want to come in and watch, you can. But I'm not going to kill you if you don't want to. So, and I've never really had the whole, I need a hook. I need a hook to get people coming back. That never appealed to me. I think the hook is me. If I'm good enough for you, then that's fantastic. We're going to get along just fine. So, I don't know. I don't think I have a mindset going forward. I never really saw this as a business. I saw this as an opportunity to reach out to new people. And I feel like I've done that. I've answered that question, so I'm going to answer this one because it's just really quick. This does not require any thought. How's the weather over there right now? It's 20°, a typical British summer temperature. If you were a fisherman, you'd have an even stronger hook. I've got a mean right hook. Anyway, any fun events or collabs you're thinking of doing in the future? and with who. Collaboration's always been difficult for me, because I feel as though I need to click with that person in some capacity in order for the stream to be entertaining. And also it's incredibly difficult for me to entertain a guest and also entertain chat at the same time. I usually prioritize the guest because if something funny or entertaining happens during the screen time, at least I'm attentive to that area. But it's a bad call because I neglect chat quite a bit, and that's not fun, especially if they want to ask something and then they're just left in the dark. So it's a tough thing for me. So I tend to, nowadays, if I'm going to collab with somebody, it'll be on a day that I don't stream, or at a time I don't stream, because then I can be attentive to the entertainment, but then I don't have to be responsible for my own management. It's win-win. But as for anything in the future, I'm not really sure. I would like there to be something Minecraft related again. Once upon a time, there was I would say there was. He's not dead. There is a streamer called Nebula Aurora. There was once a streamer called Nebula Aurora. May he rest. No. Nebula Aurora, once upon a time, had a SMP server. That was very fun. That was when I first got introduced to Nebula and his friend group. And I was a little shy, so I wasn't very open about the whole adventure sort of thing, the whole adventure of living on a server together. But as the server went on and grew, and I got to understand who these people were and what they were all about, I've started to become a bit more outgoing, and it was very fun. And then they started doing streams about it. Raimani famously did his own take on that, where I, for the first arc of the server, became a menace, where I was bullying him, constantly digging into his walls, setting up traps. It was very fun. Obviously, didn't do that for the whole thing, that would have been ridiculous, but it was entertaining. It was very entertaining. And I do miss that. I miss the being on a giant online space with complete freedom, with multiple people that I know and I know I can trust to have some fun and to not, you know, cause any ruckus. I would like something like that again. Unfortunately, that kind of thing can only ever be set up by somebody with a large audience to begin with. If I tried to set something like that up... Wait, no, we did. I think we did, actually. Yeah, we tried, but there was an ape server. Nobody joined it. It was just me and the mods. And as fun as that was, it's not exactly what it was I was looking for. And with who? Honestly, anybody. Anybody who doesn't harsh my buzz. Anybody. But at the same time, I think I have to know each other a little bit before going in. I'm not just gonna be like, you there in the audience, come up stage with me. Give the audience, everyone give him a hand, audience, and everyone claps. I'm not gonna do that. That would be silly. But something along those lines. Fun events? Not a clue. I wing everything lately. I don't have the privilege to set up something long term like I used to. But there's always hope. Hello, welcome on in. Thank you for the happy birthday. No, it's not my birthday. It's not my birthday. We're 6 months off. You'll never forget the hideout that I discovered. It was a good hideout. This must have been before discovered. You can... Okay, so... Whoa! Thank you for the gift sub. Feel free to post it in chat. Rai Mane has a... what's it called when it's like the best bits? A compilation. Rai has a compilation when he was most active on the SMP server that pretty much just encapsulates the entire saga of the whole damn thing. So if you want to catch up on what that was like, feel free to watch that video. It's very fun. And Rai is always entertaining. You feel like setting up a big Minecraft server with lots of people requires lots of socializing to get people in. Seems hard. It is hard, and I don't blame people for not wanting to. Again, it was... I'm going to be throwing this word out a lot lately because it really is. It was a privilege to be part of something like that whilst it lasted. Because the odds of that happening again anytime soon is really slim. Okay, next question. You know Stoke Zone Smackdown is in a bit of a stasis right now, but how do I feel about it? Like, do you regret it? Are you relieved to not have to worry about it? If you don't answer that, that's okay. No, I'll answer it. Stoke Zone Smackdown is the epitome of I bit off way more than I could chew. The idea of Stoke Zone Smackdown was to have 10 fighters per season and to have 8 seasons, so then at the end, every champion from each season would come in and have an ultimate fight. I got about halfway and got burnt out. That's the short and long of it. I don't regret it, because without doing that, I would never know my abilities with such a long-form project. Not to mention customizing that particular game is much more difficult and time-consuming than, say, I don't know, the WWE wrestlers. Customizing those is arguably much more fun and much more varied with what you can do. Like I said, bit off more than I could chew. I don't regret it. I don't think it's ever going to come back. I think it's done. If Stoke Zone Smackdown does come back, it'll come back as a different format. But it as itself, no, I'm not touching it ever again. It's dead in the water. Am I relieved I don't have to worry about it anymore? I feel guilty. I feel guilt in myself that I abandoned it halfway. Not even at a state that's like it's more or less finished and I can release it at any time. It got halfway and I just said, fuck it. I threw my hands up in the air and just dropped it and walked off. Which is not something how you should... That's not the way you should handle any project. You should have an awakening, a realization, and even if it's unfinished, you should try and bookend it somehow. And that's not what I did. I just bailed. But live and learn. Next question. Sega Sanshiro always wins. He did seem to always win. And it's all the edge of tomorrow. The next question is, what are my thoughts and feelings on the current viral controversy around Tung superstar Chubo Kwe of the Vindolo's fame? Should he be allowed in Poingo Pincross? Okay. I didn't know if I wanted to answer this because I'm all about no politics. But I think Chubo Kwe, although he seems to be apologetic and he seems sincere, for someone of his status, he really should have been careful when saying those particular words at that particular time, especially on a podcast with more than like 50,000 people. it just seemed irresponsible. Maybe he was stressed, maybe he was a bit drunk, who knows? I certainly don't. But I think the rage is warranted, especially since, you know, I mean, I'm not going to repeat what he said, I mean, you all heard. I don't know, it's going to take a long time for people to forget and to forgive. And also, it's not really my place. The comments he made weren't exactly directed at me. They were directed at a very select group of people who I feel should be the ones that have the final say. But I think as it stands, I don't really want Chuberquay in Oingo Picross. I believe it's like a Zoe Quinn situation. I'm just going to step back until it solves itself. Not really going to touch it. The iron is too hot. I'm going to wait for it to cool down. Okay, next question. Favorite color? Yellow. I didn't have a favorite color for the very long time. I couldn't really decide. Also, has this been frozen this entire time? You've just been looking at... Apologies, that's just been frozen for 20 minutes. I had no idea. Anyway, yellow. Yeah, yellow is my favorite color. So, I didn't have a favorite color for the longest time. Not because I couldn't decide, but because I kept flitting between them all. There's too many. There's too many damned colors. And they all elicit different emotions. And those emotions all vary between whatever color it is you're looking at and the mood that you're in. Not to mention, varied colors also elicit different responsibilities in your actions and emotions. Blue can be seen... I like blue. Blue can be seen as a relaxing and calming color, but blue can also be seen as fucking terrifying, especially if you have a fear of the ocean. Red is seen as angry, but to me, red is where the most delicious foods are, like berries. So it really does depend on your outlook on life. And at the moment, yellow, in my outlook, is quite positive. Lots and lots of yellow flowers in the summer makes a field look great. Yellow seems to be the types of fruits that I like. Also, yellow looks really good against green. And if you're ever walking in a field or a forest and you see something yellow burst out, it looks really good. So it's yellow when teamed up with something else too. But I'm going to say yellow just because that's in my ballpark right now, but honestly it could change at any moment. My color choice is very fickle. And I think that's going to be the way it's always going to be. You like lilac and aqua. Those are good. Those are nice, good colors. Remember, at some point, you owned too many blue cloves, which is different shapes. Which... Ooh. You know what? That's a question, and I'm going to save that for later. Because that's going to open a whole discussion. That's going to open a whole can of beans. Next question. Which primate and... favorite primate and why? Mountain gorillas. Because they are super mysterious. There's the Western lowland gorillas and the Eastern lowland gorillas, which are the more popularized and more known gorillas. They're the ones that everybody knows. You know, you see them in zoos, you see them on the documentaries. They're the ones that you can find more or less easier than the other gorillas. But the mountain gorilla is very different. They stay at a very high altitude in the mountains of Rwanda, forested mountains. And they have been seen hanging out near the peaks where the snow lives. However, because of where they live, it is extremely difficult to find out their behavior how many numbers there are. We have an estimate, but we don't know. We honestly do not know. And even the natives of the area, the Rwandians and the Congos, the people of the Congo, they all say, like, we don't know. Like, they know about the other gorillas, the lowland guys, but the mountain gorillas are very mysterious, and I like that. But when you do get footage of them, when you do get a sighting of them, they are very different. They are much larger, much hairier, and they have a much different presence about them. Gorillas, as a species of animal, are quite stoic. They have a lot of patience, and they also are quite firm and strong in their decision. Whether it's to move to a new area, whether it's to have some rest, they seem quite decisive in, like, it's this time, let's do it. There doesn't seem to be any flitting confidence. The only time there's ever any kind of alteration in their behavior is when there's an outside species getting too involved, like chimpanzees or humans, or a structural hierarchy being challenged, and that's about it. Like, if you watch gorillas, there seems to be almost a telepathic understanding between the troop. It's very curious, it's very amazing. Something that I don't see in other primates. Orangutans like to hang out together, but they don't hang out in a troop. You get, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 of them hanging together. They seem to like that. Chimpanzees are very vocal and very physical communication. So they'll tell you if they want to tell you something. They'll either scream it at you or punch you. Gorillas are different. Gorillas are, I guess, posture language is the best way I can put it. Their stance and their position tells you everything you need to know. It's fascinating. That, on top of being mysterious and not much research is known about them, like mountain gorillas, I find that extremely exciting. They pique my interest quite a bit. So that is my answer. Gibbons just wave their arms and run away. Gibbons are little shits. They'll steal your peanuts and then smack your shoe. Primates can easily rip me. Primates can easily rip me to shreds. Yeah, don't go near them. Even the small ones can really hurt you. A capuchin monkey, the ones that you see in movies, they are 100% capable of killing you. They are strong enough, even though they're like the size of a cat. Just don't go near them. Don't do it. Not worth it. Leave them alone. Favorite Sonic characters and why? I mean, it's pretty basic, but I like Sonic himself. I feel as though it's interesting. Even though people like to say that Sonic's personality hasn't changed much, I kind of disagree. His personality, although constantly in the positive, like, Sonic's personality has never dipped below anything beyond optimistic and brave and the get up and go attitude that he's always had. It has changed in flavor. It used to be, a very long time ago, that described in the literature of the manuals in the classic games, that he was more of a stoic positivity. But then as he started to have more of a talking role, he's more of a relaxed sort of, like, how do you put it? Like a beach-loving, like, kind of like a surfer bro, almost. And then as time has gone on, he's started to deal with more and more difficult issues. There was a time during, like, Sonic 06 where he was straight up just a hippie. Like, he really was. Like, he was just like, smell the flowers! Hold your head up high and run! And it was very weird. I was like, what the f... But he's always been positive, and I appreciate that. And I think that's probably one of the driving forces for that character. I believe if Sonic was anything but a positive, get-up-and-go, happy guy, people really wouldn't give that much of a shit. He's the complete antithesis to Shadow, who is this moody grump and only does shit if he needs to. But people like him too, so I don't know. Also, I just really like his design. Sonic's design is just so clean. It's so perfect. When they created that character, they nailed it. That was lightning in a bottle. It was fantastic. You didn't really like Sonic as a character so much until relatively recently. I don't know if it's a slight shift in how he's portrayed, or if it took you a long time to clock in of him being an emotionally intelligent guy. Sonic is fucking smart. That's the thing. That's also something that never gets shown. Sonic isn't book smart. Like, he won't be able to build anything crazy like Eggman can. But Sonic is very street smart, and he understands consequence. He understands, he understands accountability and what it can lead to, which is probably why he's always nearby where shit's going south, because he kind of just has a sense for it, you know? Other characters? I mean, Tails and Knuckles are pretty dope. You know, I'm just gonna say the original four, Tails, Knuckles, Amy. And probably for reasons you've already heard, you know, I just like them. I like Shadow, I like Rouge. And the Omega, I like that trio, it's cool. They should do more stuff together. I like Vector for outside of the memes. I like Big the Cat outside of the memes. Not a big fan of the other team, of the other Chaotix members. But they're fine. I don't think there's any Sonic character that I turn my nose up at. They're all good. They're either all good or just fine in my book. I like Eggman, of course. I really like Eggman. I think he's a really very fun villain. You can do a lot with him. He's fantastic. I think that's about it, yeah. Nothing else comes to mind. I think Silver was unfortunately shafted. I think Silver could have been something really special, but they buggered it. He has potential. He still has potential. They could save him if they wanted to. But we'll see. We'll see. Sonic in the video game equivalent of the golden ratio. I'd say so. IDW Comics made Silver one of your favorite characters. The comics do a really good job at expanding the characters. The writing for the IDW comics are stellar. Really well done. God, I don't usually do this much talking. Hold on. We're only 40 minutes in, goddamn. Right. Favorite Yakuza series character and why? Thank you for the hydrate. Favorite character? It used to be Kiryu, but then I played Like a Dragon. And as much as I love Kiryu, because he's a tragic character, but he's a good character, he's a good man, and it's just unfortunate that the world seems to hate him. But Ichiban's the same, but his outlook is way more proactive. I don't know. Kiryu seems great, but kind of depressing. Yeah. Self-loathing makes me sad. I agree. Ichiban is infectious. I think that's it. Because Ichiban is just so... There's an aura about him that pulls you in. He's very charismatic. But in a positive way. He doesn't want anything from you. He just wants to have a good time. And there's something really refreshing about that. I'm going to say Ichiban, just for the reasons that I just said. And also, I'm going to put a cherry on top. Ichiban because there hasn't been a character like him in modern media for a really, really long time. That's just a positive guy. Optimistic, but also pragmatic. He's not stupid. He understands the risks, he understands the weight of decisions, but he approaches it in a way that's clean and not laced in selfish deeds. He's very honorable, and that's really nice. That's really nice. Next question. If you have any real fun Sonic game related memories or stories to share. I think I've told the story of my first word before, but I'll tell it again. This is weird because this is a story that I have to trust that my parents weren't lying to me. So take this with a pinch of salt. I can believe it just because of how babies act. I had to look after one for a year, and I can see how this could have happened. So, when I was born, I was brought into a house that already had a Sega Mega Drive, and my mom would play Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and have me on her lap just to keep me company and, you know, watch over me. And I was very fixated on the screen. Like, she put it on for herself, but it was also a great distraction for me. So my little baby brain was memorized by the colors. And when you boot up the original Sonic, it does the iconic logo. It shows up and it does the whole Sega, that kind of crap. After about, I don't know. I actually don't know how old I was. I should have asked how old I was when I said it. But at some point, that Sega must have gone into my head the right way, because I was on her lap one day, she put it on, and after the chime happened, I said Gega. Because I didn't have any teeth, you see. I couldn't make this noise. So it was Gega for the longest time. Both my mom and my dad were very disappointed that my first word wasn't mom or dad, but a corporate logo. That's like, imagine your first kid saying Disney, and it's like, all right, we need to get you. All right, we need to get you outside. I think we did. It's not. It's a fun story, but it's also a bit concerning. Let's see. I feel like I have another good Sonic-related story. Let me think. Okay, yeah. This one is awkward. I don't like this story because it makes me it makes me look like a fool, and there's a photo of me somewhere in the Sega archives because of it. So, way back when I was involved in a project where we were developing a game, a shoot 'em up, we I say we, as the royal we, as the group I was part of, decided to approach Sega to see if we could buy the license. Because the only time that game ever got any attention was its initial release. It didn't get referenced anywhere, there's been no culture about it, it's complete and utter desolation. Even some older titles get more reference than this one does. So we thought, let's throw our hat in and see if we can get it. So we contacted the correct people. They asked us to fill out a form, and when we filled out the form and gave them our offer, they asked us to come and meet them at their office, which was in Sega Europe. Sega Europe at the time was in London. I don't recommend going to London, it's a piece of shit, but that's where they were, so we all went. We got suited and dooted, and I really hated that. I don't like suits. They feel really uncomfortable. But as we were walking through the lobby, apparently it's customary for people who are coming to the company to do business with them to have their photo taken with the Sonic statue in the lobby. And I did. The thing is, though, I had to sneeze. I tried to stifle my sneeze, I really did. You can guess what happened. Just as they pressed click, my face contorted just as I was about to sneeze. So there's a photo of me somewhere in Sega Europe of me doing a beaver face just as I was about to sneeze next to a Sonic statue. That's cool. They asked me if I wanted the photograph and I said no. You can keep it. I think that's enough. Oh, I also own a Sonic plushie from 1995, because when I was really little, I don't even remember this happening, but when I was super, super little, I was dragged around as a little babby, and there were arcades, and somewhere was selling a Sonic the Hedgehog plush of Classic Sonic, and they bought it me. And it's the 1995 version, and I still have it. It's on my shelf. I'm looking at it. It's cool. I like it. Apparently, I played with this damn thing so much that I ripped its legs off. So there are fresh stitches on its legs, and you can tell where they are. It's cool. That thing is old. That thing is an old school plush. I wonder how much it's worth on eBay. Not that I'd ever sell it. It's one of a kind. It's an antique It's a unique pose. No one else has done that. It's Sonic no more. He's Cannywalk. See your finish. You and your parents had to apologize. Sorry, apologize? Had to agonize for years and you couldn't get your first Sonic plushie until like 2006 or something. Ugh. You have a guess as well that the franchise might be, but is that won't risk NDA? No, I could talk. I could say what it is, but I also don't want to say what it is because you know what people are like. Still gives you whiplash to see Sonic plushies at a toy store here nowadays. Honestly, I'm extremely jealous of kids these days. They get all the cool shit. There is so much fucking merch for the darndest things. Your game doesn't even need to be popular. Your game doesn't even need to sell 10,000 copies before you get a plush. Fucking wild. Holy shit. Things are so much better for the merchandise world. What the crap? You couldn't done this again. Yeah. There would be some backlash. I don't want to give too much away. Next question. Would you ever do an IRL stream of me going through a nature park like a Peach District? Yes. I've wanted to do that for ages, but I just don't have the money or resources to do that. I know you can, because I've seen people do it, and there are videos online telling you how to do it. You can hook up a GoPro to a Twitch source, and you can stream as you go. But you need a very strong... what's it called? There's a thing that you can apply to your phone or to a device that can go to the internet. A tether? No, that's not it. Other people can use it too. You become like a hub. Like a hotspot. Thank you. You need money and the device to apply your phone to become a hotspot so that you get the best connection. Having data works, but fucking hell, you would need to spend so much money to get the data you need to stream something like that. That's why the hotspot service is better. And I'd love to do that. Are you kidding me? That would be fantastic. I'd show you guys all the cool places I'd go. And then I'd have a little wristwatch thingy so I can look at the chat and talk to you guys. And I'd have you guys attached to my glasses so you will be able to see what I see. It'd be fantastic. I would love to do something like that. But I'm poor. So, tough luck. Intelligent stream idea. Stream yourself at a zoo. Or film the monkeys. I'd love to do that too. Come on guys, let's go to Dudley Zoo! Again, I would love to do this. But I'm fucking broke, dude. I don't have the money to do that kind of shit. I wish I did. I really do. I'd buy you a GoPro when I win the lottery. Oh, I'm glad you're thinking of me. You probably shouldn't. Why not? Last time I went to the zoo, they tried to catch me in a net. Yeah, I think I'll shave next time I go. Which sport, if you had to pick one, would I do as a professional level? Bowling. There you go. I don't know. Sports just doesn't interest me at all. Is bowling a sport or is it a game? I'd have to look it up. As far as I can tell, bowling is a sport apparently. If darts can be a sport, then so can bowling. Which part of the Earth would you like to visit, and which part of the Earth would you never want to go? Which part of the Earth would I like to visit? God, there's so many places. Hello! Put on some human clothes. Oh! Thank you for the sub. God, there's so many places I'd like to go. So, first of all, I'd like to visit the northern parts of the world. I'd like to go to Iceland. I'd like to go to Norway. I'd like to go to Sweden. I'd like to go to Finland. I'd like to check out Canada. I'd go to Alaska if they'd bring down their knife crime. I feel as though those types of places in the world kind of just have the right vibe that I'm looking for. I seriously just do not see myself visiting anywhere else. Just simply because of the location and the type of weather they can have. I think I would... So, if I'm going to visit somewhere, say like Japan, it's going to be in the northern regions, where it's very cool and snowy. I would not want to go to Japan during their summers. That is bad. No, thank you. I would be miserable. I've already visited another country where it had a shit ton of hot weather and I hated it. It was miserable. So I already know how I would behave. It doesn't matter if I'm in a cool new location. If it's warm, I don't care. I just want to go home. That's another question. Hold on, let me copy paste that before. So mostly just cool places. I know there are places around the world that are like near the equator, but they're still cold. So maybe I'd go through there as well. I know Mongolia is... Some parts of Mongolia are pretty cool because it's very high up in altitude. Though I don't know if my weak-ass lungs would be able to keep myself going there, so I'm not really sure. I'm also of the mind of, if I'm gonna go somewhere for a visit, I'm gonna go there for a long time. I will not be able to just go somewhere for a week and then come back. That's too much of a whiplash for me. I've got to settle for like, fuck, I don't know, a month. It would be a very, very long stay. Or just move entirely. I don't know. Places I would never want to go, though, anywhere that's above 25 degrees at a constant. There you go. Canada is way too hot right now. Canada is... in fall is nice. I'd go during the winter months then. That'd be lovely. Hot weather is abysmal. You don't get how people are living in those conditions. Some people genuinely love it. I don't know. Different strokes for different folks. But my stroke is... get out of here with your above 25C. Go away. Actually, get out of here with my above 23C. But yeah, honestly, it's temperature that dictates where I go. If I want to visit somewhere great. It doesn't matter if it's the most fun place on the world. If it's humid and warm, I'm never gonna go. Never. Which bothers me a lot because I love tropical stuff. Really love tropical stuff. It's my whole jam. Unfortunately, everywhere that's tropical is ball soup weather. So it kind of bums me out. But whatever. You want most what you can't have. But what I can have is just as nice. Because pine forests smell really good. 38 degrees should be illegal. Illegal. It really should. Different stoke apes for different folk apes. I just beat the Western RPG in UFO 50. It took you 6 hours? Why did you do that? Has the sun baked your brain that much that you thought that was a good idea? You no idea! Somebody check on Rye, please. His brain... Can somebody check on him? Just give him like a rub down. Sorry, no, not a rub down. Somebody rub his shoulders. No, don't. mean, somebody could do that. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm moving on. Now, did someone ask about Nova Power yet? Not yet. Feel free to plop that in the chat if you wish. Raw dog in RPGs is dangerous. Yeah, I'm raw dogging it. Okay, next question. Is there an animal that instills fear and horror into me? There is. But even talking about it kind of sets me off. So the thing is, this animal doesn't really have a name. It hasn't been identified yet. But I know it exists because it has to, just based on the law of nature. And it frightens me that we haven't found it yet. So there is a law in nature called the power vacuum effect, which means anything that has an exuberant amount of resources will be taken upon by a group of some sort of faction. So say there's a fruit that nothing eats. Something will evolve to eat the fruit. There's a creature that can kill almost anything. Something will evolve that can't be killed by it. It's like an arms race. There is something that is so good at killing things, there's something that's so good at defending itself. So that means there must be something that's very good at hiding. But because it's so good at hiding, we don't know where it is. And that frightens me. That legit frightens me. And here's another one. What if we do find this thing that is so good at hiding? What would its reaction be when it is found? Because think of it this way. If nobody has ever found it, or at least come back to tell us that it exists, what if people have found it, but they didn't come back? Missing people happen all the time. Sometimes they go missing without a trace. I'm not saying it's this fictitious animal that I'm imagining, but it's a thought. I'm gonna evolve to eat the fruit. Shitfoot. This music while you're talking about this. You're afraid of ticks? Prions? What's a prion? And mosquitoes. I'll give you an animal that I am afraid of, though, that is catalogued. Grizzly bears. Or just any kind of bear, really. There's a lot of predators out there that you should be very much afraid of. But bears scare the fuck out of me. If a big cat, say like a cougar, a tiger, a lion, if they want to kill you, they do it quickly. That's their MO. They jump on you, they bring you down, they go for the neck, and they either strangle you or they break your neck. That's what they do. They like to bring you down fast because cats, as a whole, don't really like to expend energy that much. They're a very good conservationist when it comes to hunting. So if I'm going to get killed by a predator, I'd like it to be a tiger because they do it quickly. A bear, though, I'm at this thing's mercy. It wouldn't even... Bears' claws are so fucking sharp that they don't even need to swing hard and they could just split you open. It's fucking terrifying. And you don't even need to be doing anything. You don't even need to be doing anything. Some days they'll act cute. They'll be on your porch and you scream at them and you say, "Parkele!" with a broom. And they roll off the bench and run away. Some days you'll get lucky. But some days you'll have a bear that's like, "Nah, pal." And then that's it. They're unpredictable. God, and God help you if you find a mama with cubs. That's it. You're definitely dead. Bears scare the fuck out of me. I hope I never run into one in the wild. Because I don't know what I'd do. I think I'd freeze. Which is probably the best thing I could do. But other than that, I know cassowaries are something you should be afraid of, but for some reason, if I saw a cassowary, I think I'd have a bit more of a reaction time. I feel as though I may be able to avoid getting hurt. And at least, like I just said with a cat, I know it's going to be quick, so at least, even though I'm scared, I know the death is going to be quick. But bears, I'm its toy now. And I think that's terrifying. Be at the mercy of this other thing that just sees me either as a plaything or food, or both. No thank you. I like bears, but they scare me. We've only explored 15% of the Himalayas and even less concerning the ocean. Definitely should be afraid of bears unless you're Markiplier. Also, Big the Cat yaw, perfectly shaped for a human skull. What's a yaw? Prion's disease kill your brain. Example is rabies and fatal insomnia. Oh shit, I didn't know it had a name. Fair though, that's something to be afraid of. Oh, jaw. I don't know, ask Big the Cat. I know another apex predator is wolves, and you should be afraid of wolves if they're in a pack. However, if you know how and you have the equipment, you can get out of being killed by a wolf pack. There's a video online about a man who shows you how to do it. He goes out into the snow with the gear and with the knowledge and deliberately gets attacked by a wolf pack and fends them off successfully. It isn't easy, but he did it. So at least that is... I'm not saying I could do it. I'm just saying it's a bit more... You feel as though the risk is a bit less if you have the knowledge that it's possible. Even with a gun, though, you can't really fight a bear. Anyway, next question. I'm moving on. I'm good at art, thank you. What advice do I have for anyone who can't draw or just starting to draw? Get good at drawing shapes first. Like circles, squares, triangles, oblongs, semicircles, acute angles, obtuse angles, bottle shapes, hexagons, jars, rings, pens, anything that has like a simple shape, cigars, rectangles, boxes, televisions, things that are simple shapes, things that have standard definitions and dimensions to them. If you can work out how to draw those things without reference, then you're a step closer to understanding how to start drawing more complicated things. Like things that don't have a fixed definition. Say, like more organic things like leaves, or an animal, or even your hand, or eyes, anything like that. Because everything comes down to everything that is a visual aspect that can be translated to a 2D dimension comes in the form of your perception when it comes to shapes. And once you understand that, everything starts to fall into its place. The way that I draw is that I imagine what it is I want, and then I start to draw the shape that looks the most like it. Then, once it hits that point, I stop imagining it, choose another shape, and start going for it. Imagining the shape itself does nothing unless you know exactly what it is, and usually those shapes can come in a tactile form. So, let's say you want to draw an apple. If I were you, grab one. Grab an apple, hold it in your hand, see how it weighs, see how it feels in your hand. Can you crush it? What's it feel like when you bite into it? What happens when you throw it against the wall? These things help you understand how these objects exist in our reality, which will also translate into paper. I don't know if this is something that's akin to me, but I have a much better time drawing anything if I am aware of its conditions beforehand, which is not easily done, especially if you're drawing something that doesn't exist, say like character concepts. But you can substitute that with real-world references. So let's say you're drawing a character who's humanoid. Well, then stick a human in there. Character's got clothes, alright, then grab some clothes. What does that feel like? How does that hang? How does the light hit it? It's all reference based on your perception. Which is why a lot of artists, I feel, have different styles. Because our perception of reality is all different. It's all unique. Which is why I believe when you're starting to draw, you go with the basics first, and then you see where that goes. Because you will adopt your own style. It will happen over time. You can't help it. Your body will just lean into that. Once you figure that style out, though, you're on your way. Because you can make anything look good if you have a style. But that takes a lot of work. Like everything worth having, it takes work. Raimon wonders if the ape on the stream uses the rag as a sun cover. Okay, I'll answer this one quickly. So, orangutans in particular, for whatever reason, we don't know, they love covers, like blankets, leaves, and stuff like that. We don't know why, but we suspect it's because they are arboreal, meaning they are tree-dwelling creatures, and they live in the canopies. They don't live in the treetops, they live just below. So we've theorized that they just love to have any kind of shade or cover over them. Which is why when you see a lot of them coming out into broad daylight like this, they either hang out under a blanket or they take one with them. It's very common in zoos that when they become sick, they wrap themselves in a blanket because that's comforting for them. It's very unique to orangutans. Gibbons don't do it, gorillas don't do it, chimps don't do it. They like blankets. That's like their feel. That's like their thing. And you can trust them with it too. Don't give a chimp a blanket, they will use it to strangle another chimp. That's real. That's been documented in many zoos. But you can trust an orangutan with a blanket. And they are cute. They are cute when they're wrapped. They are swaddled. I hope that drawing advice was good. That honestly is the best way I can describe it. The problem is, I never really was taught how to draw. I learned it all myself. So, that's the best way. That's how I learned. I started with the basics, found my style, and went from there. Style. And then recently, obviously, I started to learn how to draw with a mouse. But I'm glad to see from a couple of weeks ago that I still have my pencil drawing skills. I thought I lost them because I hadn't done it in such a long time, but I still got it. You have a stupid question, but I'll wait until I've run out. Okay, hold on. Let me put Pep's stupid question at the end of the list, so in case you forget, I can tell you. Okay, next question. If you had the capability, resources, and opportunity to move anywhere else in the Ook, where would you go? There is somewhere I would go, but it's a bit silly. So, actually, no, it's not silly. I don't know why I said silly. Maybe it's because I feel a little vulnerable telling this story. But I think if I just tell it straight, you'll understand why I was apprehensive. The sewers of New York. That is not in the UK, I think. There's the sewers of York. We don't have a New York. We have Old York. I want to go to Craggy Island. I'd like to visit Craggy Island one day just to say I did. But alright, so this has a little bit of a story. So let me think. So this particular episode happened when I first moved back in with my folks, when I wasn't particularly happy. And I had about, a month and a half off from streaming just because I wanted to settle back in. I wasn't happy at all. I wasn't happy about the situation at all, so I had to just make do. And my time off was me making do. During this time, I started to actually try to achieve harmonious meditation, because beforehand I just did it to relax, but now I wanted to push it because I wanted to make myself okay with situations that I hated, which was something that I tried to avoid in my life altogether. It was the whole point of me living independently, getting a job and living with people that I liked, was the whole point of living with my own peace. But I've had that option taken from me, so the only option I had left was to find inner peace. I know it sounds daft, but that's what I'm trying to go for. And it is working. I am a lot less responsive to these irritants. And I'm telling you this because it is related to the question. So, during one of these sessions, I was under quite what felt like a sleep, though I was definitely awake. And I felt something knock the wind out of me. And I opened my eyes and breathed very hard, a gasp of air. That kind of shit. And then I started to feel really dizzy. And I thought, oh my god, what's happening to me? What's wrong? And then I passed out on the bed. Face first. I know it was face first because when I woke up, it was face first. There was drool on the bed. It wasn't good. I must have had my mouth open the whole time. Got punched by a ghost. It felt like it. I had a dream. It was very vivid. About a place that was near a river. And the river had a couple of overarching bridges on them. They were canal bridges. And opposite the canal bridge there was a school. And about that school was a small town. And this particular area was kind of misty, kind of foggy. It's not Silent Hill, shut up. It was kind of misty, it was kind of foggy. And the trees were wintry. So only the evergreens were out, and the trees themselves were definitely like thawed. The foliage had fallen. And I remember people walking around and they were very heavily coated as if the place was very cold, but there was no snow, it was wet. There were very few cars. And I remember people were talking about they saw another one. They were talking about something that had been recurring that they weren't shocked about but still curious. That's all I can remember. And then I woke up and I remember thinking to myself, after this moment I had, I remember thinking to myself, that sounds very bizarre. And shortly after this spout, I started to get really involved in the paranormal stuff. Not to the point where I'm starting YouTube channels and buying equipment, I just liked to read about it. And I shit you not. And I still get a bit jumpy about this. I type in famous UK UFO hotspots. And the first one I get is a place called Bonny Hill in Scotland. I go on Google Map, and the first place I fall in is exactly where my dream was. The canal, the bridge opposite the school, the trees, void of leaves, wet, people walking around in winter clothing. I had a panic attack, the first one I'd had in years, because I didn't feel like at that point I had agency over my life anymore. I didn't like that. So after about a couple of days of denying it, I decided to go back into Bonny Bridge and look into the town some more. And there was just a moment of quietness, of me just exploring the town using Google Maps and exploring the town's history. And the town's history is pretty vague. When it comes to UFOs, apparently people just see things in the sky a lot. Things that definitely aren't planes, and there's footage, supposedly. You know, you gotta take everything with a pinch of salt about these things. But then, two other things happened that made me just go, okay, what the fuck do you want? The first thing that happened with these two things. My sister, who I had not spoken to at all up until this point, decided to buy me a book. I have not spoken to her about any of my interests or any of this stupid shit that I'd been doing. She bought me a book about paranormal phenomenon in the UK. And chapter 1 was about Bonny Bridge. I still have the book, it's over there. I got very skeptical, and I was just like, you fucking spying on me? I got very angry, because I was just like, this isn't fucking true, this ain't right. This isn't real. But after, you know, chilling out, after being punched in the gut again, I sat down with the book and I started reading it some more. And it told me what I already knew. Pretty much just what I found online. And then the third thing happened, and since then nothing else has happened again. So here's the third thing that happened, that I was just like, something wants me to go to Bonny Bridge. So I was looking into buying a plot of land for myself. And there are lots of plots of land you can buy in the UK because we are in the UK specifically. We are in a very unique period of time where aristocracy bloodlines are dying due to inbreeding and improper care of management and funds. So a lot of land is now just being copped and voided. And because each plot of land has a grace period where the government just cannot scoop it back up, there are lots and lots of little plots of land opening up in the UK now that you can just buy. And you can become a baron, a landowner. And I was like, fucking hey, let's take a look at these lands. Very expensive, every one of them. Guess what I saw when I was looking for a plot of land? The plot of land that I saw was the space next to the school that I dreamt about at Bonnie Bridge. So, if I had the capacity, the resources and opportunity, is there anywhere I would move to in the UK? Yeah, I'd go to Bonnie Bridge and find out what the fuck is going on. Because I'm getting a bit pissed. I just want to be left alone. The Buddha himself descended to knock me out, boom, and give me a prophetic dream. I don't want it. I fell unconscious, I passed out. I got abducted. Either company spine has become insanely invasive or something is messing with you. In terms of finished lore, you would insist this is a 8DN and experience a premonetization of sorts. Looks at camera, Bonnie Bridge. Boom sound. Sorry for the joke. That's actually cool and fascinating. Shit's weird sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, it is. Nothing has happened since then. Nothing Bonnie Bridge related at all. I don't know. It's weird. But if you look past all the paranormal stuff, it looks like a really lovely village. There's lots of land. It's in the middle of the country. Next to no crime, next to no people. Property prices are about the same as everywhere else in the goddamn world. You know, no one can afford a home. But if I could go there, if I had enough money to buy a home in Bonnie Bridge, I'd go. It looks like a lovely place. It's got access to big open fields that's next door to a forest. It's right up my alley. You like the name, Bonnie Bridge. Alliteration. Ooh. Bonnie Bridge. Next question. What is the biggest difficulty you've had in the development of Nova Power? Ugh. There's been a lot of things. Biting too much off. And killing my own motivation. And becoming scared of my own scope. Those have been the biggest things. I went too hard on Nova Power, and I feel daft, because I know when Nova Power is finished, it's going to be a very small game. Most people will finish it in less than half an hour. So when I talk about these things, it's going to seem really ridiculous. It's like It's like me saying there's a monster in the cave, and every time I go near it, it scares me out of there, and you go in there and it's a small cat. It's a domestic house cat. That's what it's going to be like. So I know no matter what I do, if I abandon this, or if I keep going and release it, it's going to be extremely underwhelming, and it's going to be a life lesson. And I'm not looking forward to it. It's going to be extremely... Fuck. It's going to be bad. It's going to be really bad. But I'll get it done. It's just going to be one of those things that I'm just going to have to do. One of those things that I'm going to have to let myself get burnt by. If anything else, it'll build character. I'm just not looking forward to it. It's like getting a jab. I know it'll be good for me, but I don't want it. I don't want it. I want to hold somebody's hand. Can somebody hold my hand? Nova Power? It's a game I'm working on. You should keep track of that place every once in a while. I should. It's been a while since I've looked it up. Tomorrow we'll see on the news something about Bonnie Bridge. It's not daft. It happens to us all. Not one gonna jab you for releasing a small game. I don't feel like you've hyped it up to be some super hyper next-gen game anyway. You've always said that it's going to be small, you're eager to check it out whenever that is. You know what? To make myself feel better, if there's anybody still hanging around by the end of this AMA, I am going to show you a trailer for Nova Power that I have not released because I am not happy about the trailer or the condition of the game yet. So it'll be a really scuffed looking game. But if anybody wants to hang out until then, I will show you that trailer. And that is a promise. As a little thank you for putting up with all of this. I see that place. Bonnie Bridge. Oh dang, I might miss out, but I'm hyped. Please don't be hyped for it. It's not gonna be good. I know it's like, I know it's the whole, like, it's about the message you send. Yeah, but I don't like lying to people. So what do you want from me? Anyway, next question. Which part of Napoleon... I was going to say Napoleon Dynamite. Which part of the Neapolitan ice cream do you eat first? Vanilla. The fake strawberry flavor is not my favorite, and the chocolate in Neapolitan isn't that good either, but for whatever reason, vanilla is always on point. I remember I once had I once bought a fancy box of Neapolitan, and it was awful. Time to eat pizza. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, Batman. Hell yeah. I don't know why you asked me that ice cream question. Is that like one of those personality test things? Next question. If you had a nice big plot of land to farm, what crops would you grow first? First of all, I'd grow some decoy cabbage. That's important, you need that. Because otherwise the crops that you do want to grow will get ravaged by slugs and stuff. So I'd plant some decoy cabbage first on the ground, and then I would create some plant boxes with some anti-slug deterrent so that they can't climb the boxes. In the boxes I will have potatoes, some kind of root vegetable, carrot, parsnip, turnip, something like that. They're all those three are all good in stews, so and they last a long time if stored correctly. So, one of those three. I'd like to have a go at growing corn. I know you can grow corn in this country. It's possible, but I don't know how. And I feel like if I had my own plot of land, I'd like to experiment with that. So growing my own corn, that would be fun. I would have some berry bushes. Grow some black currants, red currants. Maybe some raspberries. Raspberry brambles would also be good too for fending off certain pests. So I would try my best to grow a kind of like a natural fence around my crops of the raspberry bramble, because then it would be defense, and also it would be delicious when the raspberries come out. Baby. What else? Peas and beans are always good. Peas, when they are harvested at full and dehydrated, can last you over a decade if stored in a sealed jar. Same with the corn, actually. The reason why I want to grow corn is because it lasts a long time. If you get the corn and dehydrate, put it in a sealed jar, that's yours forever, as long as you know, keep it in a nice vacuum jar. Turn it into popcorn. Delicious. What else? I'd like to grow a fruit tree, though I don't really know which kind. There's a bunch I could do that you can grow: plums, pears, apples, peaches. You can grow peaches in this country. I'm not really sure. Some kind of fruit tree would be nice. I don't want to grow tomatoes, they're too much work. Tomatoes are extremely thirsty plants. They require so much water. I do not know how farmers keep up with them. Like, fucking hell. I gave that shit up. Mad thirsty crops. Maybe I'd grow some kind of cucumber, zucchini, a gourd. Yeah, some squashes. Yeah, I'm growing a couple of pumpkins right now. They're doing great. Grow some pumpkins. Pumpkins are good for stews. If I could get a greenhouse on the plot, maybe I'd grow some watermelon. That'd be great. Fresh, homegrown watermelon. Oh, fuck. That would be class. Also, way more resource reliable and less space intensive than growing a banana tree. If I wanted to grow a banana tree for bananas, I would need a greenhouse the size of a house. And that's just not viable. That's not viable. And then also you need to have a heat pump system to keep it from dying in the winter. It's not good. If I was a billionaire, I'd do it, but it's just not. You can't do it in temperate climates. You can grow the plant just fine, but it doesn't bear fruit unless it's somewhere warm for a very long time. So maybe I'll grow a banana plant just for the aesthetics. I do enjoy the gigantic rubbery leaves, they're fun. But yeah, that's a vague idea of what I'd do if I had my own plot of land to farm whatever it is I wanted. That would be cool. What banana is best banana? To you, it's plantains. You know, I have no idea. I enjoyed Namwas when I had them. These tiny, tiny little bananas. They were super small. They were no bigger than my pinky finger, but they tasted like a sweet. They were super sweet and creamy. They tasted like, I don't know, like a banana marshmallow candy. It was delicious. They were really fun when I had those. But honestly, I'm quite fond of just the regular Cavendish. That's pretty fun. Plantains are pretty good too. I've had a apple banana before. That was strange. I don't think I'd ever have it again just because of how weird it is. It threw me for a loop. Yeah, but if I could get a handful of some ripe Namois, I'd be happy with that. But Namois are hard to get, and the ones that I did get for myself, I was super lucky. So I'm glad I got to eat them. Next question. Has your feud with the Krampus come to an end yet? No. The bastard is stubborn. So, okay, well, this needs some fucking clearing up. Right, so me and Krampus go way back. We used to live on the same street. He wanted to go and join the army. I didn't. But he needed funds to get some shit together, so that he could make the trip, because the nearest site was quite a journey. So I offered him if he would paint my fence. I'd give him some cash, and also I'd share my muffins with him. Painted my fence. I gave him the money. And to him, I don't know what sparked this, but he stole my muffins. He stole every one of them. And it's not a big deal, but it really fucking pissed me off. Like, I felt sneaped. I was like, dude, I'm not offering you help ever again if this is just how you're gonna treat me. I've already given you money. You didn't need to steal more. So we're kind of just, you know, it's been going on for a long time. It's been going on for a long time. So, fast forward a couple of years. I see him walking around and I'm like, hey, how did the army go? And he's like, I didn't go. It's like, well, great, I'm glad I gave you that money for nothing. So I offered him to make recommends. I said, I have an idea. I'm still pissed off with you, and you're clearly still an asshole, so I'm going to give you this opportunity so you never see me again. Paint my chicken coop, and I will buy you a ticket to anywhere you want to go. He said, let's meet halfway. I was a fool. I just wanted to agree on something, but he said, let's meet halfway. Give me half the money now, and I'll give you half the money when I paint the chicken coop. I said yes, like an idiot. He takes my money and never comes back. I was a fool. I was like, oh, here's the day. I'm going to have my chicken coop painted. Never came. So that's twice. He's a bit of a shithead. I gotta tell you. But at the same time, I also blame myself. I clearly have too much faith in the guy. I clearly believe that if I give him the opportunity to do right, he's just gonna do that, or clearly not. Clearly not. So I'm to blame too. You know the old saying, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. So, but that doesn't mean I'm not frustrated by it. And, you know, we're kind of just at an odd end right now, so it's the Krampus lore caught up with. Paint wasn't even waterproof. No, it wasn't. That wasn't Krampus, that was just a sheep. Next question. How do you decide which videos get which thumbnail art? I try to remember my emotion during the playthrough. Or, if I cannot remember, then I try to match the face of the gorilla to the general theme of what it is that's being played. So if it's a scary game, then it'll either look worried or shocked. If it's a relaxing game, then it'll look chill as fuck. If it's a game that I didn't like, then the monkey face is gonna either look puzzled, annoyed, or just disinterested. If it's a game I really loved, it's gonna look super happy. If it's a game I'm kind of like 50-50 on, it's going to look some kind of halfway. If it's something that I'm just kind of like, yeah, whatever, then I don't know, it'll be a monkey picking his nose with a stick. It honestly depends on my mood. I let my mood decide on the dictation of the thumbnail. I grab the logo and then give it a whitewash of an outline. If it's a multiple series, then I put the number in the corner. And if there's space, I will stick something there, either relating to the game or just something relating to the genre itself. Sometimes it's hard to find material based on the game. So right now, I'm playing through Blood West, and it's hard to find anything that's been cropped and PNG'd unless I do it myself. So I thought, I'm not going to do that. I've got things to do. So I just grab any kind of cosplaying cowboy that's PNG'd and just stick them on there, because why not? And that's it. And if there's a background I can use that can accentuate the theme, then sure. I also try to have a different color for each thumbnail as well, so it kind of doesn't look the same. Yeah, because most people don't really pay attention to thumbnails that often. It really is just big blocky colors with big blocky text with a number on it, if there's a number. So it really is just something that's meant to be a flash of information. Blood West, oh, it's number 4, done. Okay, there it is. Half the time they're not even looking at the images. So you don't really need to try that hard for thumbnails, not really. It just needs to be a blob of color that catches their eye. But honestly, your thumbnail can be whatever it is you want it to be. Which color do I hate? I don't think I hate any color. Hate is a very rare emotion for me to display. I feel as though something has to be diabolically unforgivable for hate to be applicable. But a color? I don't think a color has ever done me wrong. As far as I know, I don't think there's a council of colors that are conscribing against me. You hate a specific shades of blue. Why are you hating on blue for? What's blue done to you? You love any time you see the art of you looking funky. You behind the steering wheel, or you as the Congo Bongo sprite. I love the Congo Bongo one because I can just shove that into any game that uses pixelated art. It doesn't even need to be quote-unquote retro. It can just be... Let's say I played Terraria. I would use the Congo Bongo ape because Terraria is pixel. So it's a really good... just shove it in there kind of thing. You just hate specific shades. Pep, we need to have a talk. Hating an analogous concept like a color is a very... it's not healthy. You once did research on different shades of colors when you were young and wrote Ruby fanfiction. How did that go? Ruby. I don't know if I hate any color, but there are shades of color that I just don't like the look of. Just as an image of color. If I ever come across these shades, then I will kind of just recoil because it's just kind of, it's either too much or the color itself reminds me of something I don't want to know. So I'm not going to say what these things remind me of, but I'm going to just say them and you can use your imagination. So, yellowy browns. Not a big fan of seeing. Anything that's ridiculously bright and hard colored. So like super hard pinks, super hard cyan blues, super hard greens, Something that's like super in your face and bright. Something that makes every one of your eye cones stand tall. I don't like looking at it. It's too much. It's too much stimulation. I can't do it. I don't want it. There needs to be there needs to be something brought down just ever so slightly. Just an ever so slight saturation. You know, all the colors don't need to be all the way up. It's okay in little pieces, but if it's a big block of something, then holy crap. A good example would be the missing textures thing, where it's solid magenta blocks against black. I mean, there's a reason why that exists. It's because it's supposed to catch your eye that there's a missing texture. But I can't look at that because it fucking sets me off. I'm like, I hate looking at this. It hurts my eyes. Actually wholesome. I look back on it now and rightfully cringe. Don't cringe! I think we all cringe at things we used to do when we were kids or younger, but don't. If you could teleport to a period of time in history, where would you go? Hold on, I will answer that after another one. You like disgustingly saturated and bright colors. What the fuck? But you hate shades of blue? Pep. I have nothing, I'm just saying your name. That's hello. How you doing? You're probably peeved that Gary's mod had a Steam trading card that's just the missing texture. I didn't know that was a real thing. Did you ever write a fanfiction? I'll get to that soon. You never write a fanfiction ever again, you thinks. Maybe you should! Oh god, my voice. Next question. Which stream or stream series would you say you had the most fun with? Like a game that was joyous, that it was a heck of a time. I read that as hack. A heck of a time! Let me tell you, boy. You know what? I feel as though I have an answer, but let me skim through all of my archives and I will tell you, because I will remember when I see them. I had fun playing Shenmue recently. That was a good one. That was a nice blast from the past. Midnight Walk. I adored that. That was a really good stream. I enjoy playing Rippo. Even though I only streamed that a month ago, I did join Neb and Rai for another one previously. I enjoyed playing Dragon Ball Fighters just for the fuck of it. Punko Picross was fun. The Thing was fun. Cringe, that was not cringe, it was corny. I enjoyed doing that, that was great. Sonic Roboblast Part 2 was fun with Rai. Playing the Croc remaster, that was great. Playing Pokemon Alpha Sapphire, that was great. Black Myth Wukong was great. Soul Reaver was great. Playing that short series I did where I just play random arcade games for 13 streams, that was fun. I'd like to do something like that again. The Like a Dragon stream was great. Last Christmas I played Ludi. Fucking hell, Ludi was so good. I loved Ludi. I encourage more people to play Ludi. That shit kicked ass, I loved it. Viewfinder was really fun. I enjoyed that, it was a great puzzle game. Dun Jungle I loved. Shadow Generations kicked ass. That was fantastic. Let's see. Ken Seiden, that Master System game, was a surprising... that was surprising. I enjoyed that. That was really fun. Let's see. Ooh, Judoro! Yes, Judoro was really good. And the new game, Machina, is the people who made Judoro, so that game's also going to be great. 100%ing Rayman Redemption 10 months ago. That was really fun. Pretty much anything that I co-opted with GW and Green with is always fun. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. You know what? I'm going back so far that I'm going back a year, but loads. There's been a bunch. Oh no! There you go. You once made a fanfic in-game from where there's just a dark version of a good guy and he's super edgy and cool. Shit's banging even to this day. You need to rewrite this fanfic. You think part of the reason you wouldn't ever write fanfic again is because your current mindset is that I don't think you could write character as well as the creators themselves. That makes sense. I can certainly see that. Billy Hatcher. I did not enjoy Billy Hatcher. I enjoyed the first level of Billy Hatcher and then it all just went down. Arcade Streams was probably your favourite. I might do that again in the future. You will never forget that one Repo game which was witch hunting, and you had the carriage. Oh yeah, Pilgrim! Pilgrim's really good. I want Pilgrim to get more updates. Pilgrim kicked ass. GM. Okay, next question. If you could teleport to a period of time in history, where would you go? Fucking, is it permanent? Because to tell you the truth, I wouldn't go anywhere. If I could come back, there might be somewhere I'd like to see. But if I teleport there permanently, I would not take it. I know modern day isn't fantastic, but fucking Christ, it's a far sight better than 200 years ago. And even further beyond. So let's just say I come back. Because permanent teleportation, I reject the question. But if I could go there, walk around and then come back. Let me think. Period of history. I don't want to pick an obvious one. Like seeing Pompeii explode or something like that. I'd like to go somewhere strange. Somewhere that's like not really looked at a whole lot. I know. I would teleport to Australia before the colonization. I want to see what that was like. I want to see what it looked like with the Aborigines walking around, living life. I would like to see that. Because they didn't record anything. Much like the Native Americans, everything the Aborigines did was vocal. They didn't write anything down. So, unfortunately, all of that history is gone, apart from the few left that keep the stories alive. So I'd like to see how it was before. That would be cool. Before Uluru crash landed onto Earth, that would be cool. There's lots of little things, but I think that would be my first to go. I just want to see what that would be like. I'm not really too keen of what happened. It's all about what you can do now. So I think I just look at something passive. Next question. Did you ever write a fanfic? You know, I feel like I did at one point, but I don't remember. I remember... So... I don't know if this is a fan fiction, but I did use... when I was a kid, I did use Bionicles to reenact a story. So that I used the Bionicles for. So it was the Bionicles. I didn't like rename them or anything, so it was all who they were. But they weren't in their story, they were in my story. And my story was they were kicking the shit out of the other toys I owned. So I guess so. Really, really loose fanfic that was played out in real time. I don't know. I've never sat down and wrote a fanfic, I think. But I've done plenty of what-if scenarios using like tangible objects. Definitely. So I don't know, that's the closest I think I've ever gotten. Okay. Next question. We're getting near the end now. What inspired your series on BlueSky videos once per day? Oh yeah, the 1 per day thing. What inspired me was the actual implementation of being able to upload videos onto BlueSky. Day 1 was the first video of that series. So it's been, what was it today? 304? So it's been 304 days since BlueSky implemented videos on the website. I'm going to stop once I hit a year. But mostly because I'm running out of shit in my folder, and I feel as though it's getting a bit forced now. I think a year running joke is good enough, you know? That's fine. But yeah, the inspiration was BlueSky themselves making the feature possible. What the fuck is that? Oh, it's clapping! Okay. To me, it looked like a spaceship, and the color at the bottom where it flits in and out, I thought that was exhaust. So I was like, why is there a little rocket ship? Just I like it though, it's clapping. Okay. How many people do you think will need to pull off the chronovisor heist? Fucking hell. You want to raid the Vatican? I have no idea. I have no fucking idea. You'd need an army. Because there's no way you'd be able to sneak in. You'd have to take it by force. You'd need an army. You'd need at least 10,000 people. That's that is not doable. Okay, that's That's all the questions. So I've come up to the part that says, remind Pep of the stupid question. So then, what is the stupid question, Pep? Peep. This has been a good stream. I like this. It was chill. Not to mention, this music's also really going. Can't believe the Q&A actually managed to last 2 hours. Pretty, unexpected. I thought I was only gonna get an hour out of this. Lovely satin jams. Hell yeah. How do I feel about accidentally causing Rai family to become devoted to Dragon Ball fans? You caused it! How do I feel? A little proud. I'm not gonna lie. Pretty proud. Okay. So, saying I'm pretty proud about it is a real answer, but I'm also going to give a bit more of a lengthier answer, and it's going to get a bit sappy, but I don't care. So, you guys, the Rai fam, are quite an influential bunch in my circle. So to know that I had such a reaction and influence within that circle makes me feel very happy, because I respect you guys a lot, and to know that I made you happy in some way makes me feel very fulfilled. And I feel that way about any of my friends. If I can make any of them happy for any kind of reason, whether it's a mistake or just some kind of happenstance or even a purposeful gesture, it feels good. It feels good. It feels good! Ugh. Okay, well, if there's no more questions, I think I'm gonna wrap things up. I'm gonna hold on for about 5 or so minutes just in case anything pops up, but if not, that's fine. Honestly, I'm surprised that we managed to last over 2 hours of question time. I thought this was only gonna go an hour, honestly. I really didn't think we'd get, I didn't think we'd get that much. Not really. But this has been good. But yeah. Tony Hawk wants to cause you an earthquake in Los Angeles. There, it's caused the earthquake. Do Pokemon stored in the PC become digital monsters? Can we store humans in the PC? Can you catch people in Pokeballs? Because if you can, then that also means that you can stick them in the computer. You don't think so? Then, well, then we still got some work to do. We need to make Pokeballs that can catch people. Put me in your PC. I would actually love a little Rai desktop buddy. I think that would be fucking cool. But I think this is a good place to end it. Oh, it's not a question, but you don't think you've ever showed how much you appreciate your streams. Thank you for providing the laughter and the fun that you do. Well, thank you very much. Holy shit, did you see that? That fucking gibbon turned into a ghost for a second. Thank you very much, though. That is appreciated. Again, I know I said it before, but to know that I'm doing anything right, that I'm making anybody happy, is a good motivation for me to keep doing what it is I'm doing, and it's a good confidence builder. Microsoft Clippy, but it's rye. I would pay money for that. But I think that's it. I'm gonna bounce. Thank you everybody for showing up for this, and thank you everybody for posting in questions pre-stream and during the stream. Here's to another year. I don't know. Here's to more. Oh shit! I was gonna show off the trailer. Okay. Hold on to your butts.